Cool. Okay. I don't think anyone else is joining, so we'll dive in today. As you guys probably know from the email you got and the announcements you got, today's a we got an exciting announcement that I want to share with all of you. Right. And yes, Jade, it will definitely make your life easier and better. Spoiler alert. So some of you might know, some of you I don't recall if I mentioned it in previous calls, right? But we have been working on building an AI agent for all of you and your executives. We're there. We have an AI agent now, right? We're calling it the EA agent until we find a better name for it, but I'll explain why we're not naming it. The goal here, the idea here, right, is to help create more leverage for both you guys and your executives, right? So I'm just going to address the very first question that you guys are probably wondering. Will this replace you? Right? Who's wondering that right now? You don't have to put your hands up if you don't want to. But I'm sure there's. Go ahead, Jade.
I think the biggest thing on everybody's minds is not whether or not we're going to be replaced, it's whether or not we're still going to get paid.
Fair question.
Because I mean whether you like it or not, we're pretty valuable.
Yes, you are. You all are, right? So I'll just address that before we even dive into everything else, right? And show you guys all the cool things that the agent can do and talk about what it's going to look like in terms of next steps here. But you guys have heard me share this over and over and over again, right? We are at that pinnacle point in human history where things are shifting, and they're shifting extremely fast, right? Much faster than I recall the beginning of this year. I was just like, all right, guys, like things are gonna be moving this year. Things are gonna be shifting. AI's here, coming. It's not. It's here already, right? It is already here. I'm sure all of you guys already feel that. I'm sure all of you guys already see that, right? And I'm sure there's parts of your nervous system that's already feeling the level of tension and pressure that you're probably feeling, right? You got your day-to-day work, everything you're doing right now to keep up with your role while also trying to subconsciously or consciously hold on to this looming thing that's coming, right? And it's here, right? It is here, and it can be scary, and it's okay if you guys are feeling that. Right? I am. I'm feeling it. All right, I'm not even EA, and I feel it. All right, it's because there's so much uncertainty, and the uncertainty just keeps picking up quicker and quicker at such a rapid exponential rate right now, right? And so it's natural that our nervous system is feeling that pressure. It's feeling that fear, right? And so I want to start there. That it's completely normal that you're feeling that way if you are feeling that way, right? Consciously or unconsciously. um, and what we get to remember is what I shared with that is we get to adapt, right? And you look back at every single point in the history of humanity, lots of changes has happened. Not at the speed that is happening right now, but it has happened. And every time that happened, we adapted to it, right? Whether it was our generation, whether it was our parents' generation, our great parents, grandparents' generation, every generation has adapted to the way the world has shifted, right? So the question is, how are we going to adapt now? Now that that point is it's here, it's among us, right? It's not coming, right? I gave that prediction of like, what did I say it was? I can't remember what I said. 6 to 12 months. We're not even 3 months in yet. We're barely just past 3 months, right? And there are AI tools, there are AI models out there that are already automating, right, a lot of the workflows you guys are doing, right? They're all already, yeah, just automating a lot of your role, right? And so now is the time to adapt, right? I haven't sugarcoated it. Maybe I did sugarcoat it a little bit along the way here, but I'm not sugarcoating it anymore. Now's the time, guys. All right, like buckle up. Let's get ready here. Right, our goal, our responsibility to you guys stays the same. Right, we're here to help make sure that you guys have, a fruitful career path, that you guys enjoy the work you're doing, right, and of course, to Jade's point, you guys are getting paid for it, right? But in order for that to happen, right, you guys are gonna have to put in the work to adapt. We can't do that part for you, right? We can set up the space, we can set up the environment, we can provide the tools, we can provide the training and all of that, but you guys have to put in the work, right, to actually adapt, right? And so coming back to the question of will this EA agent replace you, it's yes and no, right? If you were to audit your role right now and your workflows, and if most of your day and your week you're just doing repetitive, recurring tasks that you're doing, and you're not, mundane tasks, right, recurring workflows, right, and you're not stepping into those two paths that I mentioned at the beginning of this year, remember, right? You guys have two opportunities. One, step more into being a strategic partner, right? Higher level, higher strategic level partner to your executive, right? And really helping them get clear on what gets to be done, helping them move the needle in their business, right? Second path is you guys start to become more like operators of AI. If you have not made progress on any of those two paths and don't plan to, then the answer to that question is yes, this agent will replace you, right? It will replace your role and it will replace your income as well. It will get paid in your place, right? And I know that's not fun to hear, but I'm not going to sugarcoat things anymore. I'm going to be very honest because I care about you guys and I care that you guys continue to have a fruitful career moving forward here, right? But it's going to take some changes, and that's why I'm going to share this in a very, very honest way, right? And so now's the time. If you haven't started to make progress in either of those two paths, or maybe it's both, maybe you're doing both of them, which is amazing. That's the holy grail right there, right? If you're both being more of a strategic partner, more of a strategic thinking partner to your executive, while also, you know, picking on new AI skills, learning how to integrate AI into yours and your executive's workflow, and starting to be the orchestrator, the operator of all these tools and automations, right? Great, you're trending towards a very fruitful career, very, right? Probably even more than just your role as an EA, right? Because what you can expect to get paid for will probably also increase, because I'm willing to bet your executives are willing to pay for more, right? To have someone not just be more of a strategic partner, but also be that operator of AI, right? And so you're if that's you, you're trending in the right path here, right? And up, exactly, it's an up level in leadership, right? If you're not, if still, and you get to be honest with yourself, if right now you look back, just look back on your past 2 weeks, pull up your calendar, pull up your task board, right? And you're just like, okay, I'm only doing the recurring tasks, the things that I've been taught to do or were told to do, right? And that's all I'm doing, and that's it. Then like, I would I would be scared. I would be scared, right? So enough of the pep talk. Let's get into the exciting things, right? So again, this, will it replace you? Yes or no, and that's your choice. You guys get to choose the answer to that question there, right? We're just here to help create and build the environment, the tools for you guys to have a very fruitful career, right? That requires you guys leveling up leveling in that, right? In both in your leadership, but also the operational work you do, right? Okay, with that, let me show you. I want to show you guys the EA agent that we built here, right? What's going to happen in the next over the next couple weeks here is we're looking for a small sprint of existing clients to roll this out with, right? And we want to do it with a small group first, right? That way we can be a lot more hands-on in the weeds with you guys to not only just deploy and set up the agent, but also fine tune it, right? And, draw any of the lessons there so we can continue to upgrade and improve the agent, right? And so we'll be, your AMs will probably reach out to you, right? And in terms of next steps here, but we're going to start to see who's interested, first of all, right? And we'll add, you and your executives to the wait list, and then we'll pick a few, probably 5 to 10 to start with, right? So that we can just properly manage that and make sure that you guys get the hands-on support that you guys need there. And yeah, we're gonna roll this out. Jade.
Yeah, I just have a quick question.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. I would love to know what it runs off of.
Yeah. So the current model, the current version we have right now runs off of OpenClaw, right? We are looking into, I'm looking into adding an alternative model as well, right? So built on Claude. I started with building it on Claude, and then it was just way more technical build that's required to get the agent to a place where it's deployable. So I switched gears and went with OpenClaw, and the reason behind that is pre-built, right? It has the infrastructure there already, right? That can do what we need it to do, right? Then what we did is we took the OpenClaw framework and used it as a framework. Added on top of that, here's the Atlas EA layer, right? So that the same way all of you guys came into our world, you guys all started off as generic EAs. You came in through our recruitment pipeline, went through our training. Through our training, we installed into you the Atlas template. Here's how Atlas does SODs, EODs. Here's how Atlas does, meetings, calendar management, all of that, all the frameworks you guys learned from the EMS. So the same way we added on this Atlas layer to you guys, we did the same with the EA agent. We took an existing framework that works already. We added on the EA template and trained the agent on Atlas methodology, right? And then the third layer is going to be your guys' specific context, right? Which by now, unless you're new, should be documented in your second brain. You guys see why everything we've been doing from the beginning of the year slowly leads up to this. If you have not built your second brain, I don't care where your second brain lives, but if you do not have your documentation documented somewhere, it becomes a lot harder to train all these AI tools, right? And then so those are the three layers: OpenClaw, Atlas template on top of that, and then your executives' context and their company context, right? Then right out the box, when the moment that your executive starts talking to the AI agent, it's already going to be pre-trained and personalized to them, right? And so that's how this all works. Nina?
Thanks. Sorry for no video. I have troubles with my camera, but my question is, this AI agent, is it going to be, for example, if an executive is paying for us as EAs to Atlas, is this EA agent going to come as, like, let's say, a tool that will be covered by this fee, or is it something that Atlas is going to be charging them extra?
No, we're going to be charging you guys.
Oh, the EAs.
I'm totally kidding. I'm totally messing with you.
Thanks.
No, this is not coming out of your guys' pocket. We have yet to decide what that looks like. That's why we're going to be running this in a small sprint first, right? For this sprint, all of it is complimentary, right, to you and your executives. It's not coming out of your pocket. It's not coming out of their pocket either, right? We're going to test and validate, as we do with anything that we do in our world, right? Is we come up with something, we go, we test, we validate it. Once it's validated, then we go and make it an actual thing, right? And so for the sprint itself, the whole process of deploying the agent, setting it up, customizing it to you guys, we will take all of that on. We'll be handling all of that, right? And then we can figure out what a fair pricing looks like ongoing, because I imagine for most of you guys and your executives is you're going to continue to want Atlas's support on that, because you guys aren't the most technical people, right? And it shouldn't be on your plate. You should be focused on your roles. You shouldn't be focused on, fine tuning and updating the agent and handling security and maintenance and all of that. And so those are things that the Atlas team will handle, right, on an ongoing basis. And so
Yeah.
we'll sort out what that pricing looks like, and then we'll work with your clients on that, right, or your executives on that. But for the test sprint, all of that will be done complimentary, as a way to, again, provide more values to both you guys and your executives, right? Yeah, so hopefully that answers your question.
Yes, thank you.
Cool. All right, keep the questions coming, guys. Throw it into the chat, put your hands up and everything. I'm going to dive in and show you guys now. What's going to happen is when we deploy the agent, for your executive and for you, right? How it works is you guys, your executive will have a couple options here in terms of where they want the agent deployed, right? So when we deploy any agent, it needs a home, right? It needs a server to live on. There are a lot of different options out there, right? Some people deploy their agents right on their local computer that they have. Some people deploy it on a virtual server, right? Some people might have their own existing server they use for their business that they want to deploy the agent on there. All right, and so we're going to give a few different options here. All right, the end of the day, the way we are framing this, the way that we are setting this up is that your executive and your executive owns the agent. This is not an Atlas agent, so it's not like a software that like Atlas owns it and you guys are, your executive is paying to use or whatever, right? We are deploying the agent for the executive. Your executive will own the agent, will own all the data that's within there. At any point, if your executive decides to leave, and I hope that doesn't happen, right? We always hope for all of you guys to always stay and your executive to stay. That way you guys have, long-term careers with them. But if they chose to, right, then they take the agent with them. It is theirs, all of it, right? Agent infrastructure to all the data and everything, right? And so that's really important for you guys to be able to frame it correctly when you are sharing and talking about this with your executive. All right, so because they own everything, they get an option of where they want to deploy this agent. Right, so if your executive has an existing server that they want to deploy it to, we will just deploy it to their server. If your executive doesn't have one or has no idea what a server is, and that's probably the case for some of your executives, that's totally fine. We can manage that, right? And so we'll deploy it on our own servers, and then at any point in time, if the executive wants to go, we can transfer it to their own servers. All right, so there'll be options there. All right, once we deploy the agents, you guys are going to get two things, right? One is whatever channel you want the agent to be connected to, right? So wherever your executive is operating in, right? For example, Atlas, we operate in Slack, all right, and so that's our main channel platform. All right, if your executive uses Slack, then we deploy and we connect the agent to the clients, to your executive's Slack channel. All right, and that way there'll just be a bot in your Slack channel that you can talk to, all right, and that'll be the agent. All right, if your executive uses whatever else, WhatsApp, Telegram, Discord, lots of different platforms out there. All right, and the infrastructure of OpenClaw connects to a lot of different ones, which makes it really easy. So we can connect your agent to basically any type of channel platform you guys are using. So that'll be the first thing. You'll have a place that you can speak to and talk to the agent in natural language, the same way you would talk to ChatGPT or Claude, right? Except it will just live right in your channel adapter, right? Or your channel platform. That's the first thing. That's how to communicate with it. The second thing you'll get is this dashboard. All right, is a dashboard where you'll be, you and your executive will have visibility over everything that's happening, right? And so that you can manage the agent, right? So two ways to manage the agent: through the dashboard or through chatting and communicating with the agent directly on Slack or whatever platform you guys use. Make sense? Right? The actual agent itself will be deployed on whatever server, depending on what your executive chooses. That agent gets connected to a dashboard that you guys will have, right, and be able to log in, right? And they'll be login as a a sign up and sign out, right? So not everybody will be able to access it, right? We're just gonna put on the list just your email, your executive's email. So only you two will be able to log into this and have access to this because you guys might have sensitive information in here that you don't want to share with everyone else, right? So those are that in terms of what you get. That's what that looks like. So I'm going to walk through the dashboard side of things, right? And so you have your home dashboard, and a lot of this is built in Atlas's terminologies and frameworks, right? So you guys are probably familiar with a lot of what you see here, all right. And the other thing is this dashboard is your executive owns this too, right? So you guys can customize this, all right. I wouldn't start there. We're gonna start with this using it as it is my recommendation, all right. Focus on the functionality first. Make sure that the agent is doing what it's supposed to be doing first, right? And customizing it to your executive's preferences and stuff. Once that's good, then you can look into the fancy stuff like customizing the dashboard, right? But all of this can be done. You just talk to the agent. You'd be like, hey, I don't like purple, can you turn it to green, right? I don't like I want to swap big 3 and sacred 6, move big 3 over here, sacred 6 over here. You guys can easily customize all of that through your agent, right? But again, that's not where I recommend you guys start. Right? Most people start there just like the same way a lot of entrepreneurs start by building their website before actually going out there and creating a product or a service and making money, right? This is the same analogy here. What's the point of building the website if you're not actually building the business? So focus on the functionality first, then we'll get to aesthetics after. So this is the home dashboard that when you and your executive log in, right, you guys will see, right? Your executive will see there top 3 focus for today. You will see your top 3 focus for today, right? You'll see up here your company mission statement, right? You open that up, you'll see your North Star. All of this looks familiar, right? Mission, values, vision, whatever your targets are, whatever your company's goals are, right? All in one place, top of mind there, right? So easy for you guys to be able to pull up, and the agent's trained on it, right? That is if you have this already documented, which all of you guys, most of you guys should have the whole North Star documented already somewhere, right? And that way when we go and prep for deployment, we're going to extract those contacts from you guys. We're going to be like, all right, hand over all those documents you guys have so that we can pre-train and pre-populate all of this, so that by the first time you guys access any of this, it'll already be personalized to you and your executive's workflow. All right. Big 3, you guys know what that is already. Sacred 6, hopefully you guys know what that is already, right? So top priorities for this week, non-negotiables, must complete these, all right? I'm 2 out of 6 of the way there. Hopefully I'll knock out the other 4 in the next 3 days here. All right. Today's focus. So we have a task board, which I'll show you in a second here. All right. But my today's top 3 pops up here. If I finish it, I can go and mark it done. We're almost done with this one, so I'm going to mark that done. All right, and that will send it to Kai, let Kai know, and he'll mark that done there. All right. Anything that needs my attention will pop up here.
Colin,
Yep.
will this will this consolidate the reporting automatically,
What do you mean?
like start of days and end of days?
What do you mean by consolidate? Walk me through.
So you know how we create our start of days and end of days in Notion right now. So what I'm asking is, does it then do it for you?
Got it. Yes. Yes. We will get to that.
Okay.
All right. So.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No.
Okay, I'll keep.
No worries. No worries. All right. So no, it's good. Ask these questions. Right. Where I want you guys to like whatever you guys are curious about, take the time, ask it. Right. And I'll walk through that. I'll walk through what the agent can do and can't do out the box, and then what it can do in the future with your guys' support, right? And this is where, again, I'm coming back to, we're creating the space for you guys to excel here. We're giving you the opportunity for you guys to step into being AI operators. You guys will need to learn the fundamentals and the principles first. Once you know that, this is going to make it super easy for you guys to be super very AI forward, be able to operate agents and work with agents, right? So this is the dashboard. There'll be a KPI side as well, so we can connect. If your executive has a existing KPI dashboard, depending on where that lives, we'll find a way to connect that in and pull in the top metrics that they would want to see on a day-to-day basis. All right, and this is all demo data, so you can disregard that. And then an activity feed, so we can see what anytime the agent's doing things, we can see what's happening there. So this is the home dashboard. Oh, here's the other thing that's pretty cool, right? So actually, I'll come back to that. Task board. If you have an existing task board, we can integrate the agent with your existing one. If you don't have one, we can just use one built right in here, so it's all in one place, right? Which is what I would recommend, but that's going to be up to your executive's preference. All right, but all my tasks, all Lamio's tasks, and all Kai's tasks are in here. We project manage through here. All right, anytime we complete tasks, we mark it done, or we let the agent know it's done, and the agent will move it around for us. All right, and manage that. Right, reports. So what you were talking about, right? So there are 8 pre-built skills in this agent. And they're all tasks that you guys are already doing. SODs, EODs, right? And the agent we have the ability to schedule them, to decide when we want the agent to do them. All right, so right now, if I just go over to my calendar, you see my calendar, you'll see Kai's calendar when it loads.
Does it have to be scheduled for end of day, or is that something that can be fired manually?
It can be fired manually, or it could be automatic. All right, I have no idea why it's taking so long to load. Okay, we'll come back to that. So, skills. You guys remember what skills are? Yes, no?
Tell us, Colin.
So, skills is the technical term in the AI space for basically SOPs. Right, so the same way you guys have recurring workflows that you guys do over and over, right? For those recurring workflows, you have an SOP that outlines, here's how I do this workflow. Here's how this workflow works, step by step. This action, this decision needs to be made, then this action, then this, then this. If this happens, do this. Right? It's essentially what an SOP is an outline that maps out a workflow so that you consistently get the same outcome. Right? The goal of an SOP is to achieve consistency in the output and the outcomes. Right? So in the AI world, in the agentic world, right? The different models might call it different things, but for the most part, they're called skills. Right? So these are workflows that we would want the agent to do, and they are very clearly written out. We'll look at one, clearly written out like an SOP. Step 0, do this. Step 1, do this. Step 2, do this. The only difference is there's just technical instructions versus for a human, it would be more non-technical instructions, right? And so essentially a skill is just an SOP to train the agent to be able to achieve consistency in the outcome that we want from it. All right, and so the agent, when we deploy it for you guys, will come with a preset of some of these skills that you guys are already doing. All right, SODs, EODs, inbox triaging, right? Updating KPIs, prepping for meetings, post meetings, right? All these things that you guys are doing that are mundane right now, again, can be automated. How? We take the same SOP that you guys have for yourself, we translate it into AI language, and we turn it into a skill. We give it to the agent, and then we set up, in the technical term is called a cron job. You guys don't have to remember this, but the idea is we automate it. All right. I have no idea why this is not popping up. All right. Oh, there you go. All right. And so we take the same skills there and we go, hey, so Kai, I want you to do EODs Monday to Thursday at 4 p.m. I want you to do SODs every single weekday at 7 a.m. Right? Inbox triaging, I want you to do it twice, in the morning and in the afternoon. In the morning at 6 a.m. before we start. That way you can triage the inbox, pull whatever needs my attention into the SOD, and send me the SOD. Same thing with the afternoon. I want you to do another afternoon check the inbox, do the triaging, and then anything that needs my attention, pull it into the EOD. So the same way we've trained you guys to go and do that, now we're just training the agent to be able to do that. We're scheduling it in, and you can see in here in the agent schedule, you can see when it's doing what. You can turn on and off any of this. Right? So to your point, if you're just like, hey, you know what, I want to handle the SODs and EODs myself, great, just turn it off. Then the agent won't do it anymore, but you can still manually trigger it. All right, you can still go to your agent, whatever your executive chooses to name it. Right, you can be like, hey, it's EOD time right now. Can you run the EOD? But because it has the skill already, and you, in natural language, you go, hey, run the EOD, it's going to go and it's going to pull this up. It's going to read through it and it's going to go, I know how to do this, and then it goes and it does it. Does that make sense? Is that clear to everyone? All right, you guys see how that works? All right, and so the beautiful part here is we're going to give you guys the initial essentials first. Once the essentials are there and we can tailor this, all of this can be customized, each of the skills. We can tweak it because I know not every executive likes their SOD the same way that Atlas teaches it, right? Maybe your executive has a slight different preference. They want to include this in the SOD. They want to remove that. That's fine. We just pull up the same way with a human being. We take the existing SOP and we go and we update it. So in this case, we would take the skill and we would fine tune it so that it is more personalized to how your executive wants it. All right. Once we deploy this with you guys, the first step is going to make sure that all the essentials are working the way you guys want it to be done. Once that's done, then the next step is where things get fun, is you guys get to look at what else. What are other recurring workflows that I'm doing right now that's taking up my time, that prevents me from getting to spend more time being a strategic partner to my executive, or learning and building more AI tools and integrating more AI into the company. All right, whatever those tasks are, if they are recurring, let me start to create an SOP for it. Let me take the SOP and let me translate that into a skill, and then let me go and add that to my agent's workflow to get my agent to go and do that. And I'm going to schedule it, and then it's going to do it, and then I'm going to quality check. I'm going to be the human in the loop. I'm going to make sure it's doing it correctly. If it does it and maybe it messed up on a certain step, then you go in and you instruct it. Hey, you did that part wrong. Next time, do this. Update the skill, update your memory. Right? Then it continuously learns, which I'll talk about in a second here, the whole memory system that's built into this agent. Right? But so far, is that making sense? In terms of the skills and the SOPs? And in terms of your guys' role now versus later? Right? Now, QC. Customize, QC the existing skills. Once that's good, then you get to step into being an AI operator. You go, okay, what else? Is there recurring workflows that I have? Is there recurring workflows that my executive does that I can now go and turn into a skill and train the agent to be able to do and automate it? Then all I have to do is just QC. Right? You just QC and just quality check and make sure things are good and are firing appropriately and are working appropriately, and you're getting consistency in those outputs. All right? Then now you guys have stepped into that AI operator role. All right? What else here? Meeting prep, meeting debrief. Right? So every meeting, I use Fathom. Most of you guys use Fathom. Right? And so Fathom already creates a transcript, so we don't need the agent to be able to do that. But what we can do, and what I've done here, right, is the agent pulls the transcript, and then the agent sends us a summary of the meeting, any key decisions, any action items, identifies that, puts that in the task board, right? Any commitments other people have made to me. And then I added this kind of cool little thing here where it does a little bit of some leadership feedback for me. Right? So in every single call in my one-on-ones, it's going to give me feedback on how I showed up as a leader, what I could have done to improve, right? Or if there's anywhere that I wasn't showing up as a leader, it's going to give me some feedback there. All right, and so it's a nice little touch that I added there, and you guys can customize that to whatever your executive wants. If your executive wants feedback on leadership, if your executive wants feedback on values alignment, right? We had one executive in the call this morning who was like, "Oh, can I get values alignment feedback on every single meeting?" I'm like, 100%, right? You would just change again, go into the skills, right? You go to the meeting debrief SOP, meeting debrief. Here's the instruction that's the AI model has been trained to do. All right, and you can either manually update this, or you can have the conversation with the agent, be like, hey, I'd like to update this section. Instead of doing some leadership coaching for Colin, I want you to just praise him and give him a lot of compliments. You can do that if you want it, if that's what your executive wants. If they just want compliments and stuff after every meeting, great. Then you just instruct that and add that into the skill. Right? That's how easy it is when you guys understand the fundamentals and the principles of how AI and agents work. All right. And what you're going to notice is there's a lot of similarities to how delegation works with humans from an executive to an EA. All right. So it's kind of beautiful that you guys are in this role because you guys are so well primed to get to upskill into that AI operator role. Right? Because you guys understand the operations and the process and the logistics of human to human delegation. Now you just need to understand what's the language that AI uses, and then you go and you just translate that all into AI language. Right? Because there's other roles out there that have no idea what an SOP is. So good luck to them on learning how to build skills. You guys are well versed in what SOPs are and how to build SOPs and probably how to build them quickly too, because that can be a step one. Is instead of writing it out yourself, go and pull up Claude, go and pull up ChatGPT, whatever you guys use. Be like, hey, let's build an SOP for this. And you go and you build it. Great, take that SOP. Can you turn it into a skill that I can train my agent to do? And then you can go and just QC that. And then you go and now you plug that skill into here. All right, you guys are so well primed for this. It just takes a little bit of forward action on this, right? So I'll come back to that. All right, and the beautiful thing, because all the meetings are in here and all the summaries are stored here, this connects to the memory system, right? So your agent, if you're bringing up a conversation about, let's say I'm talking about, hey, what are the projects that I'm working on with Lamia? It can go through the meetings and read all that and have all the context on all the stand-ups that I've been doing with Lamia every day, right? Then it just has that context to be hyper relevant to whatever it is that I want to be working on with the agent, right? The other thing that's built into the memory system is session logs. So every single day, the agent logs what it does, things that it needs to remember, right? Any context, any important preferences, any important decisions that it needs, it logs it here in a daily session, right? And it's trained that every time you start a conversation with it, it's going to review the last 3 days. So it has the most relevant short-term context on things that have been worked on, any important decisions, all of that, right? What's also, it's not shown on here, but there's a learnings database too. So if there's, the session logs are good for short-term memory and picking up things if, further down, if you're just like, hey, like I remember 2 weeks ago we talked about this, can you pull up the session log so that, you pull the relevant context, it'll be able to do that. All right. But the other thing is the learnings database. And there's a little bit of a back end thing, all right, where the agent, anytime it learns something new about you or your executive, it's going to store that in a database, all right, and it has the ability to search for those things, right? So if there's like key things like, words you don't like to use, right, or tools that your executive doesn't like to use, or gotchas and very hard permanent facts, right? Your agent's going to pull that and store that in its own learning database, so it's continuously learning and adapting and evolving. The more you're using it, the smarter it's going to get because it's storing all these facts about you and your executive in that database, and it has the ability to search based on keywords as well as semantics, right? Semantics, this is meanings, right? So if I'm talking about apples, it'll pull up things about apples and oranges and bananas, right? The whole fruit category, because that's semantics. Whereas some models will only do keyword. So if I talk about apple, it's only going to pull up apple things. All right, so a little technical, and I know I'm getting a little technical there, but I want to share this so you guys start to expose yourself to more of the principles around how AI works. All right, the more you learn these things, I think the quicker you guys are going to get to becoming AI operators. Okay. And then the status is just like health check of the system, and it does a quick health check of the system, security, and all of those things, which you guys don't have to worry about because Atlas will monitor that, right? We'll take care of the maintenance and any security checks and things, and flag anything that might be a risk, and then that way Atlas will take care of handling that, right? So you guys don't have to take care of the technical side of things there. Questions, thoughts, what do you guys think?
I was wondering, would it be possible to organize some sort of like short course where, I mean, this is a walkthrough, but something that would actually in detail explain to EAs who are interested, especially if their clients are interested, how to actually build it from the beginning, how to maintain it, and so on.
Great question. Lamia and I are ahead of the game there. So what we've also done is we put together a whole knowledge base on the agent, how the agent works, how you can work with the agent. There's the executive view, there's the EA view. This is the V1 of it. We're still combing through this. We're still adding more things. We're still refining it. But to answer your question, yes, there's a centralized knowledge base here. All right, where you can go in, and if you're the EA, you can go into EA side, welcome, read through it. All right, it'll talk about quick start stuff, things to work on in the first week. We'll talk about task collaboration, delegation, handoff, communication, all of that, just how to work with the agent better. Right, and so we are documenting everything there. As you know, Lamia and I have been battle testing this for the last few weeks here. Right, and we're going to continuously add to this, and if there's things that's missing in here, you guys can let us know so we can add into there too. Right, so anytime you guys come to us and you're like, how do I do this, we're just going to take down, we're going to add into here too. All right, so there'll be like an FAQ and everything. Right now it's all text-based. Maybe in the future we'll add videos, maybe not, we'll see. I think the goal here is just how do we get you guys equipped with this as quickly as possible. And the key thing is to tinker around and to play around with it. All right, that I find that's probably one of the best ways to learn. All right, but to answer your question, yes, all of this will be also available and connected to your agent as well. So your agent will have all of this documentation. So you can just ask the agent, hey, how does the SOD report work? Can you explain that to me? All right, and I find this to be the best way to actually learn. Right, I can't remember who I was sharing this with. The old world that we used to be in, do you want to learn a new skill? Do you want to learn something new? You had to go take a program for it. You had to go take a course for it. You had to go find YouTube videos and resources and everything. The new world that we live in now, if you want to learn how to use an AI better, just ask it. Just ask it. Can you explain to me how you did that? Can you explain to me how that feature works for you? I didn't understand that terminology. Can you explain that? So if I wanted to do this, can you explain to me how to do that? All the learning that you can do can be done directly with the AI. Very rarely do you actually have to go out there and find external resources to go and learn how to use a certain AI tool now, right? If the tool is good, right? And that's our goal here, is to create all this documentation. It is auto connected to your agent. So if you're just like, hey, how does the meeting prep and meeting debrief skill work right now? Can you explain it to me in non-technical terms? It'll explain to it. Be like, if I wanted to change this, this, and this, how would I do that? All right, through natural language. All right, it's the same way. I'm going to keep making these references. The same way, if you wanted to learn a new skill in the company, and there's someone else who does it really well, what do?
You ask them.
You ask them. You ask them. Right? Hey, Wella, you're an amazing account manager. I want to learn to be an account manager. How do you handle these client situations? I mean, I can go and find a course on how account managing works. But it's so much quicker and easier for me to just go to Wella and be like, hey, Wella, can you explain to me how you do this? Wella explains to me, maybe shows me as well, and then boom. It's the same way. Fastest way to learn in an organization is going to be the same way. Fastest way to learn AI is just ask it. Ask it to explain things, right? Cool. Any other questions?
I had one.
Mm-hmm.
Just pertaining to the where OpenClaw lives. Could it live on the cloud?
Yes. Slight reframe. Because anytime we say something lives on a cloud, typically the natural thing to think is, oh, that's not very secure, right? If it's on the cloud, anything can access it, right? So the technical way here is there's two ideal places to deploy an agent to. One is something that's local, right? So my computer, maybe it's an extra computer. You guys probably hear the news right now. Everyone's buying Mac Minis and everything and deploying agents on it, right? I don't recommend ever deploying an agent to the computer that you are using, right? Because you have way too much information and access on the computer right now, right? That's not the safest way. Safest way is to get a separate computer or device that's contained and deploying the agent into there locally. Or if you wanted to do it virtually, which is what we're gonna the route we're gonna take with most people, right, is we set up something called a VPS, right, which is just a virtual server. Think of it as a virtual computer, right? That technically, yes, lives in the cloud, if that's how you want to think about it, right? But it's a virtual computer. Within that virtual computer, we add the agent into there, right? We put all of our
Is that additional?
Huh?
Is that an additional cost?
Normally, yes. So virtual servers do cost, right? And there's a lot of different platforms out there, hosting or Ocean something I forgot. There's a bunch of different platforms that allows you to, and it's on a subscription. You would set up a virtual server, and that's just a virtual computer, and then you would install the agent in that computer. So it doesn't have access to your executive's computer, and it doesn't have access to yours, right? And then you would just set the agent up in there, and then you would set up a communication channel to be able to talk to the agent, but you don't give it access, especially to your executive's computer, right? Because they probably have their passwords auto-saved on there, right? I do, right? I have my password saved on here, right? And so that's not a safe way, right? And so everything we're doing right now, we're constantly looking at what is the safest and most secure way to get an agent to your clients and you guys, right? And so we're thinking of all the different social security protocols, and we're consistently updating that and improving that and to make sure there's security hardening there. However, there's I'll be honest, there's nothing that's ever fully secure, right? If someone really wanted to hack you, they'd be able to hack you. That's why they're hackers, right? So is anything ever fully you? No. So everything we do that touches AI will come with a risk, right? And that needs to be a risk that you guys are open, you and your executives are open to, right? So we can do our best, set the security measures and everything there. However, is it risk proof? Absolutely not. So if your executives in an industry that security is like top priority, this is probably not the best route for you guys, which is a good thing for you if you're an EA there. Right, then you have a little bit more of a secure career there, right? If you guys are not in an industry where security is like, it's important, but it's not the top priority, then this route is a way to explore, is adding automations, right? But again, it's the same thing with any software too, right? Every software has the risks associated with it. Cool, we're almost at time. I'm going to leave you guys with two things. Okay, how to prep for this, right? So we're going to handle, next steps and communicating the next steps to your executives and to all of you, right? So that whoever is interested can join the wait list, right? And and we'll get started with about 5 to 10 clients first, right? So we'll send you guys more information on that shortly here. But how you guys can all prep in the meantime, whether or not your executive decides they want to add this or want to do this, right, is to start building the foundations for that next career path for you guys, that next role up leveling, right? The two clearest things you can do right now is context documentation, because whatever AI tool, model, agent you guys plan to use, whether you use atlases or not, is going to need context. All right, you guys are the context bearers of your executive. You have all the context. Hopefully they're all documented somewhere, right? So making sure your context is up to date, making sure that it is well organized. Where it lives doesn't matter. Whether you use Atlas, Second Brain, Notion, Google Drive, wherever it is doesn't matter, because all of it can be reformatted easily. The important thing is you have documentation, right? So this thing that used to be so boring back in the days, documenting things, creating SOPs, used to be the boring ops, right? Now with AI, it's exciting ops because it's the bridge to being able to effectively use AI, right? And so this boring task that you guys used to have to do has a reason for it now, right? And so that's the first one. And the second one is to start to learn how to build and manage skills. Don't wait for the agent. You guys can do this with Claude, right? Start practicing taking your existing workflows, turning it into SOPs, turning SOPs into skills. And then if you want to take a step further, you guys can use Claude Cowork. Claude Cowork also runs skills. The only difference between Claude Cowork and an agent is you can't schedule the skills with Claude Cowork. You have to trigger it manually. You have to tell it, go and do this skill, right? It's not at that, I say this now, watch next week, they release the ability for it to do that. But at this point in time, you can't schedule the skills yet. So it's not autonomous. Whereas that's what this agent does, is it's autonomous. But regardless of what you guys decide to use, the ability to build and manage skills is going to be essential, right? And you can learn by asking AI. There's a lot of resources out there. I'm going to drop a bunch of links here for you guys. Copy and bookmark these, right? All free resources right now, right? Let me just walk through some of them. I know we're a little bit over time. I'll make this quick. On how to use Claude Code, Claude 101, I recommend starting here and then going over to the AI Fluency so you can learn all the frameworks and foundations and all these. If I mentioned any technical term today and you guys are just like, what is that? Start to learn what those are, the frameworks and foundations, right? Because they are transferable to any different type of model. These are not exclusive to just Anthropic, right? So Claude 101, AI Fluency, right? I wouldn't worry about these ones. Maybe MCP. I would say Claude 101, AI Fluency, and there's another one down here. Agent Skills, Introduction to Agent Skills. They're all free courses that you guys can be taking on your own time to just start to up level and pick up on the knowledge, the frameworks, and get in some of that experience as well. All right, Claude has a whole complete guide to building skills. All right, if you prefer to read over doing videos or video courses, right? But there's so many resources out there, or you can just go directly to Claude and just ask it, hey, explain to me how skills are built, right? But now is the time to start picking up on those two things, is getting really good at documenting and organizing context so that it's AI ready. And then the second thing is learning how to build and manage skills. You guys mastered these two things, I promise you guys, you have a clear path forward in your career progression. Awesome. Well, we are here. Any questions, anything you guys need support with? Atlas team is always here for you guys, and you guys already know that. You don't need to hear that from me, but everyone on the team has been very supportive, and we'll do anything we can to support you guys. So just reach out to us and keep your eye out. EA agent's coming. It's here, right? If your executive wants it. Cool. All right. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday or Thursday, wherever it is you're a part of the world, and have an amazing rest of your week. I'll see you guys next time.